Terra Gaming just dropped another gem. And contrary to popular belief, this is not me nor my brother visiting a German domina. Let's watch. Top 10 best builds to play. I hope this is not the Barb.
After dominating the Season 5 PTR and spending a gazillion hours theory crafting builds, I finally did it. I came. Because Season 5 is looking hella good. And now I've compiled what I believe to be the top 10 builds.
Looks like
but I'm not merely going to focus on the strongest builds, but also throw in a fun factor in there.
This
Because
is the
Diablo 4 is, last time I checked, a fucking game. And I like having fun when playing games. So what I'm going to do is present what I believe to be the best build for every class, and then throw in an additional strong build that can be played
best build, let's
for
go.
the fun factor. Starting off, we have the build right here. I'm calling it the urinal because you'll be pissing all over your enemies.
This is
with
the piss rogue.
Kiss rapid fire ring.
It's amazing.
This build was already one of the absolute best builds in Season 4.
Dude, look at him. He just pissed into the wall.
This build was already...
Look at he's drunk already. Look.
One of the
He's just pissing right against the wall.
Absolute best builds in Season 4.
He's drunk rogue.
So naturally, it got buffed. And not in any minor way, it got buffed to the fucking moon. The footage here is with absolute trash gear, and it's already hitting for 2 billion per urination. So, why
this is a piss tier for S tier.
Then? Well, shit. First off, rapid fire was intended to be a single target skill mainly. Alright, and what the hell does that mean? It means that the base damage on this skill is just absolutely massive. And when you turn a single target skill into an AoE with a completely broken unique, well then, you get this. The build also utilizes the precision key passive, which basically means that you don't need crit chance, as you'll get crits automatically,
no
and you
crits
can
allowed
turn
on
the
YouTube.
additive critical strike damage bonus into a multiplicative.
The kids are all watching Mr. Beast. Hello?
This has been strong for several seasons now, but when you combine it with tempering, you can get thousands of additional crit damage bonus that wasn't available before.
Before is for old people.
When it comes to the buffs, first off the Scoundrel's
Zoomers
Kiss got
only.
buffed. On top of that,
Wait a
we
minute.
got a massive buff with a new skill passive, Unstable Elixir, and Trick Attacks. These in itself nearly doubled our damage. But on top
Dude, and I heard, I don't know if it's true, but this, not about Mr. Beast, but I heard a lot of stuff about Mr. Beast as well. My feed is full of this. I heard this one is double dipping. +2 exploit, rogue only, trick attack, double dip. Fuck, man.
But on top of that, we're now able
like
to
Victimize
use tricks
2.0.
with the trade Legendary Node, as all we need to do is use either dash or shadow step, and we get a permanent 25%.
How many bucks?
Damn.
The answer is
Alright,
rogue.
so what are the downsides to this build then? Because it looks pretty goddamn good. Well, if you don't like combo points, then you're not going to enjoy this build as it's pretty much mandatory. You also can't play this build until you obtain the Scoundrel's Kiss, and you need to crowd control enemies to deal any form of damage. The latter is, however, true for any decent rogue build, but I'm throwing that in there regardless. Okay, so that's my top rogue pick. Seeing as rogues are looking real good in Season 5, the fun build is also a top 5 build in the game, and it's no other than the Andariel's Visage build.
Andariel rogue.
As the name implies, this build utilizes the Andariel's Visage helmet, and is also receiving
666 poison res. Oh boy.
Solid buffs in Season 5. Personally, this is my favorite build in D4, and I'll be rocking it as soon as I get my hands on the helmet. And how does this work then? Well, shit. It's all Andariel's, baby.
My man.
This is what deals every single bit of damage in the build, and everything we are doing is to buff it. This is done in 2 ways. By scaling general damage multipliers and damage over time, and combining that with as much lucky hit chance as possible. One of these bonuses being the close quarters key passive, meaning we use as much crowd control damage.
Dude, man, Rogue still has all this uncapped stuff, man. Barb, every key passive, capped or nerfed, and Rogue, like, everything is fucking uncapped. What the hell?
As possible. You're then just spamming as many punctures as possible to get the lucky hits out, and you blow up your enemies with ease. Now, Andariel's can't crit, and it's not a cutthroat or marksman skill, meaning it received less buff than the Urinator. It is, however, getting a few additional buffs, one being the Shroud of Kandura's.
The Urinator. Well, one thing he didn't mention is also you get the Fist of Fate now with Anariels. And Fist of Fate is giving you 60% base crit lucky hit. So if you get a greater affix, it's going to be like 90, and then your master, it's going to be like 140 lucky hit chance. So it's going to be eating good this season, man. The freaking rogue. Hell yeah.
This doesn't do any poison damage. Well, damn, my man, it pulls in enemies, and that's why it is bonkers. By pulling in a buttload of enemies on top of each other, the Andariel helmet just keeps busting out poison novas. On the PTR, the chest in itself was also able to trigger the Andariel novas, which is perhaps not intended Umao.
AoE.
On top of that, we're getting the amazing creeping death aspect along with Cold Clip. Both of these will buff the build.
I don't know where he's getting these from, man. I remember, like, I'm watching a previous video from him. Your basic skills are always called him you. Hey, you deal 0% X increased damage. Well, thanks for nothing, Blizzard. Spoiler alert, I think it's like 25% or something. Like, I don't know like where he's getting this from. But this is how it should look like. Cold Clip. Here. That's 20%. But it's still pretty decent. But not 0.
To the fucking moon.
It was on PTR? Nah, it was not with 0% on the PTR, dude.
I can highly recommend this build, and the creator Zario
sounds like a Druid
came up
item.
with the build all the way back in Season 2. Now for the downside, it suffers from the same issues as any other good rogue build. You need to crowd control enemies to deal damage, which is weird as hell, seeing as poison used to be a damage multiplier that didn't require it. But whatever. This is due to crowd control aspects just being way too strong. On top of that,
damn right,
it requires the Andariel's Visage Helmet, and that is an uber unique, which by the way is also getting a buff. Fortunately though, you should be able to craft it in Season 5. Alright, next up is the Shit Eater, because this class was truly forced to eat shit after Season 4. My top build pick for Season 5
is it the Cringe Lord?
Is... Drum roll, please. The same exact fucking build we were playing in
Wait,
Season
it's
4.
Bob?
Just more boring
dude,
shit
I would have sworn it's Necromancer. What?
here and requiring more Ubers to be
Dude,
good.
what the hell, man? Why is he shitting on Bob that much? There's no way.
After Season... Drum roll, please.
Look at this again.
The same exact fucking build we were playing in Season 4. Just more boring,
Man, don't bully
shittier,
the Bob.
and requiring more Ubers to be
What
good.
the hell?
Funnily enough, the build was hard-gutted on the PTR.
The Barbarian fell off harder than Mr. Beast. Oh, what are they doing, man? Bob is getting cancelled again. Stop it.
German guy saved the build, and we couldn't have that. So Blizz Drop kicked him in the nuts, and
Oh,
here
it
we
still
are.
hurts.
In A tier, that is. But first off, for the shit
Why does he always call me the German guy, dude?
newbies out there, how does the build work? Well, shit. It's all due to the Bash Cleave temper, baby.
For all the newbies.
Before Season 4, Bash had to punch enemies to death one by one. That was no longer the case in Season 4, though, as it was turned into an AoE skill.
They kicked the
On top
German
of
guy
that,
in the nuts.
someone at Blizz came into work, baked out of their mind, and accidentally pressed an X instead of plus when making the tempers. They decided to keep it in the game.
They accidentally pressed X instead of plus. No, and then they said it was all intended. It's fine. Keeping it in the game, but now we nerfed it. Cut it by 80%, dude. Divide by 5. It's fine.
And rest is history. In Season 5, however, the Bash Cleave temper got absolutely
Oh,
gutted.
this is okay. I gotta like this. This is para gaming, guys. Leave a like, leave a sub, man. It's peak entertainment in video gaming of Diablo 4.
But that's not all. Every single key passive turned to
Man,
shit.
Look at this, man. Like, fuck. 100% now 20. It still says plus, but actually it is X. So who knows?
Along with the defensives and the uniques making the build great on the PTR. But it's all good because we got Shard of Arathiel Baby, the Barb Savior. Now, previously in the Bash builds, we wanted to use the Gushing Wounds.
Oh, he's showing the old version here. So this is the 200% now, which is slightly worse, but still very good. And you can combine it with Starter Sky.
Now, previously in the Bash builds, we wanted to use the Gushing Wounds
found
key
this guy
passive
last night, yeah.
to combine the build
It's
with
a good for a night session.
bleeds and deal big damn. We'll most likely throw that shit in the trash and instead
Especially
go
the
pure Bash
intro.
instead.
German
You're
Domino.
also going to be able to combine that with Rupture when pushing. And why would you want to do that and not use Hota? Well shit, if you combine Rupture with Rage of Haragath, you get 0 cooldowns. You're also not crowd controlling enemies, and no crowd control along with a 0 cooldown Steel Grasp and 4.
Well, I got news, my man. Like, we don't need this. We can just play Harlequin's Crest. And we're gonna have Master working on the cooldown. This one here. And it's gonna go like 50%. And we just have perma shouts anyways. So the Barb can complain properly.
Foreskin means that you can pull in an entire pit run and blast them down.
Easy,
This,
man.
along with the pit bosses being nerfed, could possibly keep the build top tier in itself. Alright, and for my second pick is not the second strongest build, rather the most fun Barb build in my opinion. And it's no other than the most brain-dead of builds, the Spin to Win Whirlwinder.
Yes!
This is perfect for the average one brain cell dad gamer, seeing how easy it is. A heads up though, the Gushing
Well,
Wounds
this is like some parts of the Barb nation. I mean, we have main stats, not that much intelligence. We go all into strength. No need intelligence, man. We spin, we win, we hold down one button. This is what the daddy gamers like to play. Let's go.
passive is supposedly gutted.
I mean, we have like, what, 3 wives, 10 children, and 5,000 jobs to do.
Meaning you can't push
Love
using
it.
this anymore. It's still the most goated of leveling and speed farming builds though.
It's still gonna
and
be fun.
insanely fun. And it's all due to Whirlwind being such a great skill, dealing a lot of damage in itself.
Got them.
Yeah, Whirlwind is shit, but Dust
Dude,
Devil,
like, Whirlwind got nerfed so hard, man. It's all Dust Devil and Tyrell's Mind Carry, man. I almost believed he would say it.
are not.
Whirlwind is doing damage. Yep. Sure, bro.
And spoilers, Whirlwind is able to spawn a buttload of Dust Devils. With buff on top of buff on top of buff to the Dust Devil aspect, the build deals respectable amounts of damage. The build is also
Rise in
receiving the
Whirlwind.
most massive of quality of life changes in Season 5. The anger management aspect. This in itself solves berserking.
It's now like 4 Fury lost, but this is so good, especially for the start. You just perma berserking, no questions asked.
Meaning we don't need to rely on RNG to play the build nor any other berserking generator, making the build insanely fun. And what are the requirements to play this build? Well shit, that's even better. There are none. In case you're leveling, I recommend using Double Swing until you're in World Tier 4 and can slap on a buttload of movement speed on your gear as Whirlwind turns you into a fucking sloth. You then start spinning and in turn winning. Okay, time for some neckbeard cringelord action. Both sad and great times
Dude,
are
why is Barb the Cringe Lord? Isn't it the Necromancer?
ahead of the cringelords, great being Boner Spirit. This is quite possibly the biggest winner
Boner
of Season
Spirit.
5. It was already a goated build in Season 4, but in Season 5 it got so many buffs it would take me an eternity listing them all. Oh well,
Dude, like the best build of Necro hitting for billions, and it gets a buff every other week. There's another Bone Spirit buff. Like every week, for no reason. And then they're nerfing minions. What the hell?
a few seconds. A new unique. A new aspect. Buffs to overpower.
Why?
Massive buffs to Blood Moon Britches. And an important
Like,
bug
this build was already S tier, now it's S+++++.
fixed to rapid ossification, which will allow
But I don't think it's that much fun to play.
us to spam Bone Spirit.
I much prefer Boner Spirit.
Previously, we had to weave in another skill in the middle of spamming, which felt shitty to say the least. The build was already hitting for billions though, and with all these buffs,
Yeah, this is not a good representation in terms of gameplay. Like I have in my tier list, there's a 144 clear. We can see here Boner Spirit doing 144 here, and I mean it's literally, he's not lying. Like it's hitting for billions and billions. You guys can see here, boom, 2 billion every hit. Like he takes down 144, and this got more than 10 tier buff plus pit nerfs. This build's gonna do 160, man. Like it's fucking busted, and they keep buffing it. Nobody knows why. They just keep buffing it.
Expect it to be a top 3 build in Season 5.
I think it might be
the strongest build in the game.
I was about
once
to say.
Fully maxed.
I think this is gonna be the strongest build in the game, and every other Necro build is in the shit tier.
Maximized. And how does it work?
It's so imbalanced, this class. Like they just keep buffing this build.
That's easy. You're simply just spamming Bone Spirit.
Rod Ferguson is playing this build, maybe.
With the enhanced
You can't nerf me.
Bone Spirit and the previously bugged Rapid Ossification, along with tempering cooldown reduction, obviously, you get it down to 0.
But the problem is, it's very bad for leveling. It's like very slow. It only does big dam on like high push.
When it comes to scaling its damage, it has a bunch of factors going for it. First off, being Maximum Essence. The skill in itself is gaining extra damage the more Maximum Essence you have.
It's more boring,
also
yeah.
via Ossified Essence, which is now the strongest passive in the game. You can easily get above 300 Essence with the new uniques. This also grants us an additional bonus. We get to use the Banished Lord's Talisman to overpower.
That's so crazy. Like basically every time you spend all your essence, and you guarantee overpower because your Bone Spirit spends all your essence, and you have like 350 essence or something. So you get it all back, you spend it, you get it, you overpower on every hit.
Each Bone Spirit. And that is how you're able to spam out billions after billions.
Bees,
the build
man.
does, however, have a few downsides to it. First off, it's rather weak when your gear is shit. That's what you're seeing in the footage here. I'm missing tempers.
The footage is
meaning
really
I'm not
shit.
generating enough essence back.
He's only
Mandatory
hitting for like
build
100 million, man.
to feel great.
But this is gonna be the experience for most people playing this build. It's like very, very good on high end. And it is like S+ tier, but it's like very shit for leveling and stuff. So that's why the Necromancer here feels so bad, because it's just like only high end game
It
builds.
scales insanely hard with
Like, look,
gear.
he's like struggling in 101. Like you can just play Whirlwind, which is not even an S tier build. It just destroy this. But for pushing, Whirlwind has no chance, and this one is just crazy.
Meaning the gap between having shit gear and big dick gear is bigger than in any other build in the game.
Yep.
Another downside is that
Big
it requires you
dick
to
gear.
get 100% crit chance to reset Bonus Spirit's cooldown and 275 max
Oh man,
essence
Paragaming
to
is great.
spam overpowers. These two factors can, however, be solved in a gazillion different ways and is not a massive downside, but it requires you to
Yeah, I
take
wouldn't really like recommend it too much, only if you want to like really push end
your
game.
hand off your pecker for a few seconds and activate enough brain cells to actually look at a build guide. Alright, and then we have the second build. This is my favorite Necro pick by far, and it's... Wait, what Bonus Spirit again? What the hell, Mr. Paragaming, are you scamming us? No, it's Bone Splinter doing damage here.
Yo, this is
Bone
really
Spirit
cool, this
is
build.
merely used to shoot out a gazillion boners via the Shattered Spirits aspect.
Shoot out
We
all the
then do
boners.
everything we can to scale basic skill.
Look, it shoots out 18 boners. And they all do 6x damage, dude.
damage,
Yes.
and we get this beauty of a build. This could perhaps be one of the coolest hecking builds in the
And this
game.
is gonna get buffed by Shadow of Erenthiel, a basic skill necro build. I think it's gonna be amazing.
And I've been working on it together with Gentle Giant. So if you have any questions about it,
Gentle Giant and Bonus.
you can ask either one of us about it.
The fuck are
It's
these
not only
names?
fun though, but I could see this being the second strongest Necro build in the game.
Maybe.
This is simply due to it having just way too much damage and ease of
I think on the casual side of things, it might even be the strongest build in the game.
gearing. And on top of that,
You should
the
check
build
them out.
received humongous buffs.
I'll link them below in the
Season
description.
5. As a reference,
This
this
build's
is
amazing.
Duriel And it also cleared
look at this.
120s with ease using non-masterworked trash gear
This is bullshit gear,
even
yeah.
before it had
This is
a
Uber
Paragon
D.
board. With the gear in the planner and the new Paragons, you'll get several 100% more damage. And we haven't been able to test some of the new uniques yet, which could potentially boost it further. But first, let's talk about how it works. Just as with the Boner
18
Spirit,
boners.
it requires
This
100%
is out of context.
crit chance
Out of context
to
clip.
keep spamming it. But at the same time, it doesn't require any maximum essence whatsoever. We're not even rocking any key passive in this build, seeing as Boner Spirit drains it all and we don't benefit from the ossified essence key passive on our Boner Splinters. Instead, it's all basic skill damage, baby. This is lovely, seeing as we're getting Shard of Varathiel in Season 5, along with being able to use Crown of Lucion for a slight damage buff above the Shaco.
It's gonna
On
be a
top
fun
of that,
build.
though, our survivability is getting a massive buff. This is due to us relying on 100% uptime of Boner Storm and the shielding storm aspect to
Everything is a boner here, man. Boner storm.
generate a big boy barrier for us. And this aspect now grants flat-out max life barrier.
Where's
instead
all
of
this
one
energy
base
coming
health.
from, man?
So stack
Don't
max
sexualize Diablo like this.
life and you'll be immortal. Alright, and what are the downsides of the
Dude.
build? Well, for starters, you'll need to get the cooldown of Boner Spirit down to 0. This is done via tempers.
Can we get like
and
a
buttload
counter?
of crit chance. But now that rapid ossification should no longer be bugged, you will be able to sort that
Shoot.
shit out as soon as you're in World Tier 4. The
Don't
biggest downside
sexualize.
of the build
Yeah, don't sexualize my big boy boner build. B.
though was that of Helltides. The damage was too high for Helltides.
Take a shot
meaning
every
we
boner.
couldn't reset Boner Spirit before our splinters nuked the
Drink
entire
up.
screen. But in Season 5,
Cheers, it's water.
Profane Mind Cage is now stackable, meaning the build will be perfect for all content. Can definitely recommend. Okay, that's the Cringe Lord. Let's check out Fatty
You see, like, wait, did he not call the Barb the cringe lord earlier as well? He did, man.
content. Can definitely recommend. Okay, that's the Cringe Lord. Let's check out Fatty McFatty, aka the Wood Chopping God. And first out,
Dude, the fat wood chopper. This one is gonna be eating good next season. Pun intended. Have you seen the artwork? Oh my god, man. The fat wood chopper. Fatty McFatty. Man, he's gonna be eating good. Don't look at the artwork too long. It's not the most accurate representation. I'll show this to you here. So this is the official season artwork. And there he is, Fatty McFatty. Dude. There are too many jokes in this video, dude. No one is safe. Not even the Barb, man.
is the Landslider. Now, this build was the best Season 4 Druid build. Blizzard obviously had to do
On
something
the
about
bottom.
this build. We couldn't have that. So naturally, it got its damage quadrupled on the PTR.
Yes.
Now, that wasn't all right, so Blizzard fixed it by granting it an additional massive buff.
It's on the bottom where it belongs, dude. Yeah, I can't imagine the Barb here, dude. I have trained so hard, and now in Season 6, it's gonna become the Spiritborn, and we don't have to play Druid no more. Spiritborn is there.
Some Druid has got to be sliding into the DMs of Adam Fletcher because the Landslider has been sliding hard. Not only that, though, the build is also insanely
He's
fun.
been sliding into the DMs. This is the AK-47 build, guys. Bam. S-tier land slider, sliding into DMs near you.
I've been working with Thomas Hoyne to bring you a few different versions of this build, and I can highly recommend them. So how do they work? Well, shit, via a buttload of
Land
landslides.
sliding into your DMs, man.
All the way back in Season 1,
my
landslides
God.
started getting
Paragaming.
more and more aspects being able to spawn more landslides. Combine that with the Earthbreaker Ring and landslide tempering, and you'll gain a gazillion of them.
Dude.
On top of that, the build is able to dip into several multipliers by turning landslide into both a storm and werebear skill. This is a big dick brain move, seeing as we'd otherwise run out of multipliers to stack for the build. On top of that, by incorporating Shred and Bloodhowl into the mix, we're able to dip into yet additional shape-shifting multipliers. And that, my friends,
Double digging
is how you gain a buttload of big damn. Another great benefit in this build is that you'll be able to rocket all the way from level 1 to the highest of pits. Here's a warning, though. The endgame planner is relying on lucky hit tempers to gain resources, meaning you'll get fucked if you start playing it early game. So go for a leveling build there.
It's fine,
When
it's
it
fine.
comes to the downsides, this build is one of a few that barely has any. It's easy to get going, to gear and start dominating. It's great at both single target and in AoE, and playing Shred, you have a buttload of mobility. I'll be playing this one in Season 5.
Oh, that's actually
and
cool.
so
He's
should you,
combining it with Shred. I just wish Shred as a standalone build would also be more potent after all the crushing nerfs to the blurred beasts.
And a woman. Next up is another favorite. Boulder, which is a suitable name, seeing as you'll get one in real life as well, because this build is going to be so hecking good. The build has been
Dude, look how shit it looks, man. It's like knocking everything back.
well, because this build is going to be so hecking good. The build has been shit for ages,
Can't even
but it's
kill
now
this.
finally time to start popping off.
It still looks shit, man.
I'm working with Tom on this one as well. As the build is a core skill build like Landslide,
Look, it just knocks them all back out of the boulder, man.
it's both easy to understand
Look at this shit, man.
and get going. But to get the spinning ball sacks around you, it requires one unique, and that is Dolmen Stone. Now, this is the reason Boulder will be godly in Season 5. This item got a 200% damage buff, going from 10% per ball
No,
sack.
this is this is his real voice. Wait, it's your video, Dronix? Well, I mean, that's cool. But
item-
it still looks
Now,
shit, like how it's
200%
just
damage
knocks
buff,
them back, man.
going from 10% per ball sack to 30.
Look at this
On
shit.
top of that, it's quite possible.
Look, they just get fucking knocked out of the boulder. I wish they would just remove this shit so it doesn't knock back, man. They keep doing this on the barb as well. Like, we are even getting a knockback starter set. And I'm like, dude, I'm a melee class. Why the fuck would I want to knock back the enemies away from my attacks when I'm a melee character? Like, look at this.
Possibly one of the coolest builds in the game. As with the Landslider,
What the fuck?
we're dipping into different multipliers to scale this build, but the main being aspects such as Metamorphic
why?
Stone and Dolmen Stone, which has scaling of pure insanity.
Look.
When it comes to the Season
just
5
flying
buffs, we're
away.
getting two that are massive. First off, a bug fix sorting out the tempering via Dolmen Stone, and on top of that, a buff nearly doubling the base damage of Boulder.
Dude, I don't want to say anything, but if this was a whirlwind barb, we would already be done with the run. And even after the nerfs, man, we'd still do 2 minutes.
Now, I'm not entirely sure whether this will be the second best Druid build, but it's going to be a top pick for sure. It's also the Druid build I'm the most excited to play in the new season.
Not sure, serious?
For the downsides, the main being that you need to be on top of your enemies to actually deal damage, and it's quite
Check out
spirit hungry.
Paragaming.
And of course, that the Dolmen
This is fucking peak content.
Stone unique for it to actually work. So this is more of a late game build, unlike Landslide.
I mean, with Shred, it does look cool, but like, I just wish it wouldn't knock back enemies.
Alright, that's the Fatty McFatty. And he's indeed looking to eat well this season. Not that he needs it'll now. Next up is the class that has been eating shit.
He's gonna eat well. Oh my god, guys, is the Sorcerer on number 1?
For a year now. The Sorcerer. And oh man, the class is actually starting to look pretty solid. My overall top pick for this season is the Frozen Orb build for
Hell
everything
yeah.
from the fun factor to goated pushing build.
Sorcerer's
Now the next build I'll
rejoice.
show is arguably better at pit pushing, but more on that later.
Dude, man, the Sorg is finally where it should be. Look at this, man. Lightning, more lightning, fire. Dude, this actually is a good representation of how the freaking Sorg looks now. It's gonna be so strong. Let's go.
And why is it looking good? Well, shit. The build relies entirely on Fractured Winterglass. This build was pretty decent in
That
season.
Sorg, man, I mean, if you're doing a Sorcerer, you should do a female character. Just like if you're playing a Barbarian, man, you should do male Barbarian. Even though Barbariana looked pretty decent in the Kung Fury movie.
And 4,
They're in my
but
Discord.
seeing as the
wallpapers
fractured
in my
winter
Discord.
class is being
I'm gonna link that in the
buffed
description as well.
massively, it will be a goated build indeed. Everything about this unique is being buffed.
Why doesn't Mekuna look like that, IRL?
You'll see more frozen orbs, more conjurations, which can be
Man,
combined
Mekuna
with
is playing female
conjuration
sword.
mastery
Come on.
for both more damage and mana regeneration, and buffs to uniques such as Starless Sky.
I recommend the movie Kung Fury, Barbariana.
And Tal Rasha, which are great for this build. Overall, the damage should be more than doubled from previous season.
I'm not gender discriminating, I'm just saying like a Sorcerer to me looks more on the female side, and the Barbarian, which is like a melee strong warrior, looks more on the male side.
Now where this build shines the most is speed farming.
And again, the characters used to be gender locked in Diablo 2, right? Where the Barbarian is clearly portrayed, and this is a fantasy game, portrayed as male, and Sorcerer is portrayed as female, clearly. But we're not gonna go into any of this drama, because I know there's a lot of snowflakes, so just move on.
As you're shooting out balls all over the place, it also has an insane
We only have 2 genders in Diablo 4 right now.
fun factor, and was my favorite Sorcerer build in Season 4. Overall, a great and fun pick. And the downsides? Well shit, there's 2. First one being mana generation.
Focus on the build.
You'll need some mana per second on
Morg
your chest
Nation,
or
please
boots.
cancel.
As I said though, you're getting more mana generation from the necklace, so it will be easier to solve. The other downside is that it's mediocre at bossing. But here's the great part.
You can let me know in the
and why
comments.
I think it could become the
Please
best
no.
build. The bosses are being gutted and losing a buttload of health. Assuming the health is nerfed to all pit bosses, this build is looking real solid.
You can watch the Olympics yourselves, man.
For the second build,
Or woman.
we have the Fire Kuna build. Not particularly fun.
Dude, Fire Kuna, yeah, this is still the strongest, man.
It should be the best or second best
You mentioned
build.
Mekuna earlier.
This is due to it receiving substantial buffs, along with already being the strongest Sorcerer build.
They just put on Shadow
With
Viranthil.
Makuna himself, along with Lurkin, which I deem to be absolute gods of the Sorcerer class, seems to think this is staying as a top contender.
I think so too.
And how does it work?
Firebolt.
Well, damn. By being a basic skill and combining it with the Flameweaver gloves. You simply just drop a firewall, turn off your brain, and start holding down the Firebolt button.
Dude, even the Barbs could play this build.
Now, simply by being a basic skill and benefiting from all of the broken basic
I think this is
skill
Mekuna's
aspects,
footage.
you will be able to crush content. But slap on the Varathiel sword, buffs to the key, passive, aspects, and the Flameweaver gloves,
Strongest sword build is just Mekuna, man. Sorc Society, gather up, my friends.
you'll see why this build is going to be
I think Sorcerer is going to be most popular class next season. About 1/3 of all players are just going to play Sorc.
insanely strong in Season 5.
Let's go.
And the downsides? Well, shit. It's boring El Mao. The AoE damage is also rather lackluster, which could be important if the pit bosses are less important than the
boring.
pit clearing itself. Same goes for the new Infernal Hordes. Either way, a great build by a great creator.
But you're still not going to have a Permaflame Shield.
That, my friends, is all for me. Sub, and I'll see you in the next one.
A great build by a great creator and a great video by a great German Domina enjoyer. Yo, leave a like, leave a sub, guys. Para Gaming, dude. Another
After
gem.
dominating the Season 5 PTR,
He
and
does not
spending
look
a
like me,
gazillion
man.
hours after
I mean, he looks like Rick. Don't get Rick-rolled by this. Okay, check out Para Gaming, my friends. There's a good top 10. I enjoyed that video very much. Let's go. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.